Here we are at the Cadbury district, just outside of Dublin. It's the home of one of Manchester United and Ireland's favourite footballing sons. Liam Billy Whelan tragically lost his life at the age of 22 at the Munich Air Disaster of 1958. He earned a reputation as a fantastic goalscorer with plenty of skill too. His family still lives at the family home just down the road here. He's also left a legacy, a footballing legacy, that has inspired a generation of young Irish footballers. Now, when Liam Whelan signed for Manchester United, he spent plenty of time over in England, of course, but he was a home bird. He loved nothing better than returning to Ireland, to the family home, and spending some time with his family. Nothing much has changed. Just outside here is where he played football as a child. Round the corner, the bridge which he travelled across to play football for the first time has been named after him, in honour of him, at the Liam Whelan Bridge. This is a very personal account of a player called the Irish Busby Babe.
Liam, I was very close to him because from the time he started playing as a schoolboy, I followed every match. I was his great supporter, and I knew he was going to be a brilliant boy. He was a tremendous footballer, and for years upon years I used to come home and I'd say to my mother, he's the best player in this country. And she'd say, is it only because he's your brother? And I used to say, no. He's the best player that's in this country. And it got to a stage then later when he was getting older, after he played for the youths, Ireland youths and all that sort of thing. And he was after playing in the schoolboy international team, and he was brilliant that day. And 5 players were sent away to England after that, and one of them was Paddy Kennedy, went to United. But there was still no sign of Liam, and I couldn't understand it. And I was saying, even the local teams, the home teams, they're not even after them. I said, there's somebody somewhere wrong. And it came to the stage then one night, and my mother used to say, Christy, I don't know what to be thinking of, you know. So I was up in bed that night, and I was after coming home after he playing in the match in Home Farm. And he was playing against Merrion Rovers, which was of particular interest because there was 3 or 4 Cabaret lads playing for Merrion Rovers in it, and they were cutting them, you know. And one of them at a later stage, and I've Osti Media, who had been in the teams, after he gone away, said to him, I got you away. He says, I played bad, so you to look good. But anyway, I was up in bed, and I was lying in bed, and the next thing was I felt somebody shaking me, and it was Liam. And he says to me, can you come down for a while? I say, what's wrong? And he says, there's a man here from Manchester United. And I said, it's about bloody time. That's exactly the words I said, it's about bloody time. And I came down, and it was Billy Bean. Do you remember the great United scout? He was there, and Tom Smith from Home Farm was beside him. And my mother was sitting here, and I get upset when I talk about this, my mother, because she was all upset. She said, what do you think, Christy? So I turned to Billy Bean and I said, are you signing him as a player full time, or is this a trial? Oh, he said, no trials. I said, there are no trials because you're too good for that. So he said, no, we're signing him full time. So I turned to my mother and I said, I don't mind. So she just said then, I suppose we let him go. And that was it.
At the time, actually, was it the youth team, the Manchester United too, Johnny Doherty had got injured. Johnny, who died here recently, he'd got injured. And they had been thinking of bringing Liam over, so they wanted him as quick as they could then. And they brought Liam over then for the Youth Cup final. And it was a 2-legged affair, and I think it was Wolverhampton Wanderers they played in the final.
That's right. He scored on both legs.
He scored, yeah. I think they won 7-1 and 1-1 or something like that. But as Christy said,
yeah, that's right.
Christy didn't want any. Christy was sort of as the head of the house at that particular time because my father was dead at the time, and but they signed him straight off.
was very, very friendly, and as I say, the people in Cabra, they loved that, and the young ones in particular, because they loved that they could go up and talk to him, and they knew he wasn't spoiled or anything like that, or nothing.
He was religious. Of course, we were all religious, but he had a different side to him as well. He loved to joke. He was wonderful.
It's not a character at times.
He was a character. But we're all still religious, you know. So.
Liam, when Liam was in Manchester, because he was a practicing Catholic, he actually would make friends with a lot of priests in Manchester who would be followers of Manchester United, and they were delighted to be friends with him. And that's probably one of the reasons that people say he was. I'm not saying that Liam wasn't religious, but he was mostly just a good practicing Catholic. That's what he was. No. I actually tell the story of I played for Home Farm at the time, and every Easter Home Farm went on a trip to Blackpool, and at the time they took in, at that particular time, there was matches on Good Friday, Easter Saturday and Easter Monday, and on the Good Friday we went to see United playing Burnley in Turf Moor, and I was lucky enough to meet Liam outside, and he came out and he met all the Home Farm lads who he would have known, some of the men in charge. But they beat Burnley 3-1 that day, and Liam scored the 3 goals. So you can imagine how I felt about that day. I remember we went to a match the following day with Home Farm. Now I left Liam at that particular time after the match, and we went to see, I forget who it was, with Newcastle and Everton or something. It was 0-0. And I can remember one of the men saying that, where was Liam Whelan today? Even either of them. But Liam was an exceptional player, he was. Ball control, as you can see by his records, the goals he scored as well. He was very good at scoring goals as well. He
was rated to be the brains of the team at the time, and one of the things I always describe Liam as, when I compared him, they used to say to me, compare him now with other great Irish players and what have you, and if you think he was the best player we had here. And I used to say, well, there's a difference. Liam can score goals from inside the box, like Dennis Law, as I said to you. He could hit them from 20, 30 yards. Others can do that. Johnny Giles and them could do that. But give Liam a ball at the corner flag, and 3 or 4 players between him and the goal, Liam would take them on and beat them. He could nutmeg them. He was known, I don't know whether you've ever heard of, he was known as the nutmegger in Old Trafford. He was the devil for it. And Matt Busby has a letter he wrote to Jimmy Bean, or Billy Bean, which is in a book there. And he says, you want to see Liam Whelan, he says, in training. He said, he is absolutely unbelievable. And when he starts producing all of that and the football, he says, look out, which he will do, he said. He could take players on like that. And we were in Old Trafford one day. I was at a league match with Blackpool, and Stanley Masters with Blackpool at that time. And Stanley Masters, you know, was great, and he beat Roger Byrne on the outside. And who came around on Liam, and he took the ball off him. And he stood on the ball that way. That's the way he used to do it. And the crowd just stood up, honest to God, the crowd just stood up. Ooh. And he stuck it to his legs, and away he went, and they just said, go on, Billy, show him what ball playing is all about. And that was that day in Old Trafford. I'll never forget it.
I still consider Liam my idol. When they're picking a best Irish Manchester United team, I always look to see is Liam's name on it. When they're picking the best Irish team, is Liam on it. Or the best goal Manchester United have ever seen, the goals that you're looking to see, would Liam be mentioned.